Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Steelers Nation Unite Huddle presented by Hyundai. I am Missy Matthews, and joining us today, our special guest is Steelers President Art Rooney II. Art, thanks so much for taking time today to speak with our fans.
Well, good afternoon, Missy, and good afternoon to all our fans. It's great to be with everybody this afternoon.
All right, we're going to jump right into those questions. Again, if you missed it before the call started, please press *3 if you would like the opportunity to ask a question. So we're going to get to it, and we will start with David, who is now live. David, go ahead and ask Mr. Rooney your question.
Are we going to try to keep Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown on the roster for the upcoming season?
So, David, we're still working through that. Obviously, there are a lot of factors that we've got to take into account on it, and would have to sit down with Antonio and kind of understand where he is and make sure he understands we are. So there's some work to do before we figure that part out, David.
All right, our next question is from Brent, who is in Colorado Springs. Brent, you are now live. Go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, I was wondering if you guys would consider switching back to the block numbers. I understand there is a process for that, but I think a lot of the fans would actually like that, considering we'd like to get back in touch with our culture of the team.
Well, Brent, we wore the block numbers this year for our throwback game, and we'll probably do that again next year. But I would say for now we don't have any plans to make that change on a permanent basis. But it is nice to be able to wear the block numbers on a special occasion like we did last year, and we will do in 2019.
All right, our next question is from Craig in Columbus, Ohio. Craig, you are now live. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Thanks, Missy. I was just wondering, with the draft and free agency coming up here soon, if there were any particular positions that we were looking to address.
Craig, I think obviously it's still early, and we've got to look at what we think our needs are, and obviously we'll be the first opportunity will be in free agency, which starts in the middle of March. So we've got to evaluate all the options, and certainly I think that some positions we could be looking for would be linebacker and defensive back, but you have to look at everything that's available in the draft and try to not force anything, and really, as we've said, going all the way back to Chuck Noll, to try and take the best player available when we're drafting, and so hopefully that's what we'll try to do.
All right, our next question is from Matthew, who is in Texas. You are now live, Matthew. Go ahead and please ask your question.
How long for the NFL draft, who are you guys willing to get for defense?
Well, yeah, again, Matthew, it's early in the process, and our staff is down at the Senior Bowl this week, starting to get to know some of the players that are going to be coming out in this year's draft. So we still have almost 3 months to go before the draft gets here. So we'll be busy over the next 3 months. A lot of work to do at getting to know these players, and obviously going to the combine and then going to the pro days and having some of them come into our office for a visit. So it'll be a busy time over the next 3 months trying to narrow it down to guys that we think will be a good fit for our team.
All right, we are so excited to have all of our fans here on the call, and we also have people online. So, Mr. Rooney, I want to get to one of those questions from our good friend Steelers Nation UK, Gordon. He wants to know if Myron Cope has a chance of making the Steelers Hall of Honor this year.
Well, thanks for that question from the United Kingdom there, Gordon, and thanks for all your support over there. I don't have any reason why I would say Myron would not be considered for the Steelers Hall of Honor, and as you know, we're fortunate to have a lot of people that deserve consideration, and it's always a tough decision, but I'm sure Myron will be somebody that that gets a lot of consideration. So thanks for suggesting that.
All right, again, we have a ton of questions coming in. This next one is Ashley from South Carolina. Ashley, hi, you're on live with Mr. Rooney. Please ask a question.
I would like to ask how long are we going to be able to keep Ben Roethlisberger?
Well, Ashley, you may know Ben has one more year left on his existing contract, and we've already started talking to him and his representative about extending that contract. So, I think that Ben has, he has some good years left. He's still, I would say, close to being in the prime of his career. And now that we see quarterbacks around the league that are playing into their 40s, I'm not sure that there's any reason why Ben can't play for several more years. So we're looking forward to that.
All right, Mr. Rooney, we have a question coming from Alaska. James, you are now live. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hey, Mr. Rooney, how are you? I'm calling up from Alaska. I've been a lifelong Steeler fan. I really enjoy it, since the 70s. I'm in my 50s now. But, I really hope to get back to Steeler football and no nonsense, hard nose on the line, win it in the trenches. I know everybody talks about DBs in the secondary, but I really do think football is won in the trenches with hard line play. I don't know. Could you respond to that, please?
Yeah, well, James, first, thanks for calling from Alaska, and not sure I ever talked to anybody in Alaska before, so this is good stuff. But I tend to agree with you there. I think that football is won in the trenches, and actually this past year I think we were pretty good in the trenches. Our offensive line is very good, and we expect all of them back. And then on the defensive side, I thought our front seven played pretty well this year. As you may know, we led the league in sacks, and we had pretty consistent pressure on the quarterback. So I agree with you. That's got to be the starting point for how you build a team, and I actually think that's the strengths of our team, or our line on both sides are pretty strong right now.
All right, very quickly, we are going to get back to your questions, but we have a poll question for you, the fans, today. We want to know, where do you guys usually watch a Steelers home game? Please press 1 if it's at Heinz Field. If you do it at home or in a fan cave, press 2. If you go to a Steelers bar, please press 3. If you listen on the radio, please press 4, and press 5 if you follow the game on social media. Again, back to all of your questions now. We have one coming from Kentucky. Domenico is live. Please ask your question.
Hi, Mr. Rooney. Thank you, Missy. My question is this. We don't take a lot of hyped-up players that should go lower round drafts. Is that something that – I noticed we did that when your father was running the show. Is it something you and Kevin and Tomlinson look at? Instead of going after the hyped up players, we go for those that we can mend our way?
Domenico, we certainly do look at trying to bring in players who fit and can be good Steelers, and the character of the player is something that we look at, and really try to bring in people that we think can be good people on and off the field, and that's important. And I am sure that we'll continue to look at that and work hard to find those kind of players in this upcoming draft.
All right, next we have Mike, who is in Tennessee. Mike, you're now live. Please ask your question.
Hi, Mr. Rooney. It's an honor to be able to talk to you. I feel like we have one of the most talented teams in the league, and obviously we got a bad call against the Saints, or we would have beat them, and did beat the Patriots. What do you think we went wrong at the end of the season? What do you think happened?
Mike, I think we actually were playing pretty good there at the end of the season. As you mentioned, we beat the Patriots, and we probably should have beaten the Saints. I hate to blame the officials on anything, but we certainly had our opportunities to win that game, and so I feel like we were playing pretty strong against some of the stronger teams in the league there at the end, and I think we have the the nucleus of a solid team coming back next year. Obviously, we got to do a good job adding some parts in the draft and some players in free agency. But I like where we are in terms of the future here, and obviously we like where we stand with our quarterback. And as I mentioned before on the call, I think our line is strong both on the offensive and defensive side. So we certainly have a lot to build on, and some good young players coming up in Juju and T.J. Watt and James Conner. So we look forward to those guys continuing to develop too.
All right, our next question is from Sheila, who is in Harmony, PA. Sheila, you're now live. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Yes. Hi, Mr. Rooney. It's nice to get the chance to speak with you. My question is, are we going to keep the same kicker, or are we going to have a different one next season?
Well, Sheila, thanks for your call, and that obviously is something we've got to evaluate here in the off season, and I would say that at a minimum, I think Kevin Colbert and his group will be looking to bring in some competition for Chris Boswell and see if we can make something happen there, and at least give Chris some competition, for the kicking position.
All right, our next question is coming from Robert in New Jersey. Robert, you're now live. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hi, Mr. Rooney. How are you today, sir?
Hey, Robert. Thanks for calling.
I actually had the privilege of speaking to you before the season, so it's an honor to get to speak to you again.
Well, thanks for calling again.
Thank you. I have a question. If indeed we wind up losing Antonio and Le'Veon, what becomes our focus in the draft then? Does it become offense? Is it defense? I mean, we always feel like we're trying to do something on the defensive side on a draft, but obviously that's a big void to fill at that point. So what would be the primary focus?
Robert, as I think I said before, I think we've got to try and take the best player that's available at a position that can make a difference for us. And I'm not sure there's one position right now that I would say, hey, we got to go into this draft and get this player or get this position. And so I think we have to be open to drafting the best player and whether that's a wide receiver or a linebacker or a defensive back. We probably just have to take the best player that's available at that point at one of those positions. And that's I think the key thing we've always said in the draft, you can't reach. You got to be careful about reaching for a position that you pass up a good player who may be at a different position. So we work hard at that, and Kevin does a good job putting the draft board together, taking all those things into consideration.
All right, our next question is from Craig in Atlanta. Craig, you're now live. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Thank you. Hi, Mr. Rooney. I just wanted to ask how Ryan's doing. Is he progressing, running still, or?
Yeah, Craig, I'm happy to tell you that Ryan continues to make amazing progress. If you just think about where we were a year ago, it's amazing the progress that he's made and the dedication he has to continuing to improve. And he started jogging a few weeks ago, so he really it's almost every week he's doing something that he wasn't doing the week before. And like I've said, he's a remarkable young man and an inspiration to everybody around here. And thanks for asking about him.
All right, very quickly, I want to let everybody know our keyword for today's huddle is nation. So following the call, you could head to SteelersNationUnite.com and enter the keyword nation to earn your extra yards for joining us here today. But back to your questions. We have another one from Alaska, Mr. Rooney. Al, you are now live. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Mr. Rooney, how you doing?
I'm good, Al. Thanks for calling from Alaska.
Hey, we love you up here. We are still a fan. Okay, my question is this. Do you believe that Hines Ward will get into the Hall of Fame this year?
Well, Al, let's put it this way. I certainly believe that Hines Ward deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I am worried that that he might not get in as soon as he deserves to be in there because there are a lot of receivers that every year are eligible for consideration by the Hall of Fame voters, and so I'm concerned that it might take a while for Hines, but he certainly deserves to be in there, and we'll be doing everything we can to support him and make sure that the voters are considering him. As you may know, Alan Faneca is a finalist this year, and so we're keeping our fingers crossed here, hoping Alan gets voted in, and we'll know that next weekend. Super Bowl weekend is when the voting takes place, and so we're keeping our fingers crossed that Faneca gets in, and hopefully Hines won't be too far behind him.
All right, we still are getting a ton of online questions, so I want to get to one. This is from Camellia, and she says, I appreciate the stability of our team over the years. How do you manage that and still keep moving forward successfully?
Well, I appreciate the question, and we do think stability is a strength of our organization, and allows us to build on some of those strengths year after year, and have our players come in here and understand what standards we have, and really the goal of winning a championship is what we start out with every year, and so it's it takes a lot of work, but you have to surround yourself with good people, and we've been lucky over the years to have a lot of good people here working in the organization, both as coaches and scouts and front office, and really everywhere around the organization.
All right, our next question is from Nicole. Nicole, you are now live. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hi, Mr. Rooney. It's an honor to speak with you.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi. I was just wondering if you were happy with the change that they made to the catch rule this year, and if there's something that you want the committee to look at for next season.
Well, Nicole, I have to say I was happy with the change to the catch rule this year. I wish it would have come a year earlier, and that Jesse James catch would have counted. But what can we do? We can't keep worrying about that. But we are just heading into the period where rules changes are being discussed and being considered, and there are a lot of different things that I think are worth considering. One of them is we always look at trying to protect the quarterback, and there was a bit of controversy this year about some of the calls to protect quarterbacks. So I think that's something we've got to look at and try and make sure that the officiating is very consistent on it. And so I think whether or not we have a rule change in that regard, I think there is some work to be done to make sure we have consistency in that area.
All right, John from Arizona, you are now live. John, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hello, Mr. Rooney. It's a pleasure to be able to speak with you.
Hey, John.
How are you? So, I got a question. I'm fantastic. It's sunny and warm, and I know that the rest of the country's not dealing with that kind of weather. But
you're lucky.
I'm happy. I got to go to my first Steelers game at Heinz Field in October of last year against the Browns when we paid them back for what they did to us originally. And it was awesome.
Good.
So my question is about Connor and his health. How is he doing, and are you satisfied with his performance?
Yeah, I think James is doing well, and he's actually down at the Pro Bowl this week, and so I think you'll see him in the Pro Bowl on Sunday if you want to tune into that. But James is a remarkable person and works unbelievably hard, and as you know, he's overcome a lot in his short career, and he just is somebody that kind of doesn't take no for an answer. So I think we're expecting big things from James in the future, and we're fortunate that we have him on our team.
All right, I think this is a first for our huddle here for Steelers Nation Night. We have a kindergarten class from Southern California. Mrs. Wise's class is on the line. Do you guys have a question or something to say to Mr. Rooney?
I personally want to thank Mr. Rooney. I have been a Steeler fan for life. My parents are from Somerset County, Pennsylvania, and we grew up right. We grew up loving the Steelers. But my kindergartners have been learning a little tidbit for next year to keep us going. Ready, guys? Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Go Steelers! Thank you, Steeler Nation. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Miss Wise, and thanks to your kindergarten class there. I'm glad you're raising them to appreciate black and gold out there in California.
All right. Well, I think that is a perfect way to end our huddle today, presented by Hyundai. Mr. Rooney, thank you so much for your time, as always, for the fans here for Steelers Nation Unite.
Thanks, Missy, and thanks to all our fans out there. I wish we could have had more calls, but we'll do it again sometime soon.